that sucks! Sex is like the best thing ever, my boy. You just need to get laid. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Yesterday I did a video on what asexuality is, and I'm just going to be expanding a little bit more on that by talking about being asexual in a sexualized world. First I'm going to talk about kind of the representation in the media. So obviously asexuality doesn't get a lot of representation because a whole lot of people don't know what it is. And while asexuals may relate to certain characters, they aren't necessarily represented as asexual characters. So I'm just going to mention a couple of the characters that I know of and that I've seen in movies and series that people do relate to but are not necessarily asexual. We saw in the Big Bang Theory, there was Sheldon and Amy, and I was very excited because I thought Sheldon was asexual, and then he started going out with Amy, and it portrays asexuals as like nerdy, awkward people. I'm a nerdy, awkward person, but it doesn't mean that every single asexual is a nerdy, awkward person. And you know, it would have been so amazing to see asexual representation in such a big series like Big Bang Theory, and then Amy was sexually attracted, and it like ruined the whole plot line. You know, it made asexuality look like it was fixable, and I'll talk about this more later on in the video. We also saw the fixable thing in one episode of House, and basically House had a patient who came to him saying that he was asexual and his wife was asexual, and House disproved his asexuality and proved that his wife was only being asexual for her husband. This obviously creates a lot of bad and dangerous thoughts in an asexual's head because they believe that they are broken, that they can be fixed, and that's wrong. A lot of asexual characters are also made into a punchline. Their sexuality is joked about in series. I was reading on a forum and a lot of people said they identified with characters like Luna Lovegood from Harry Potter because we never saw her express any sexual attraction or kind of have sexual relations with anyone until the last movie with, I think it was Neville. A lot of people said that Elsa from Frozen was also quite a representative character because she isolated herself from everyone else because of her perceived brokenness. I believe that Katniss Everdeen is asexual, and I think a lot of people do as well. She only really showed attraction, and not necessarily sexual attraction, when she needed it. You know, so with Gale, she was very confused about what to do, and with Peeta, she showed it to get people to like her in the Hunger Games. Unfortunately, that's how it is. Sorry, Team Peeta, whatever. I didn't think that there needed to be any sexual relations, and the fact that society made her relation between Peeta and Gale a big thing was exactly what the author was trying to show us, is that the Capitol made it such a big deal. These kids are literally fighting to the death, and they're focused on one relation between two kids. A lot of people say Spencer Reid from Criminal Minds is also asexual, and I thought this as well. I was very, very strong on the belief that this is true. No, it hasn't been confirmed. None of these have been confirmed, but I do believe that he could be seen as an asexual character. That's just some of the representation that we've seen that we think, but the next ones have been confirmed. SpongeBob has been confirmed as asexual. He is a sponge, so, you know, positive, I guess. People were very surprised by this, but I mean, you know, he's a sponge on a kids' TV program. Of course he's not going to show sexual attraction. Apparently there's a character in One Piece, which is an anime that I haven't seen, Luffy, who the writers have confirmed as asexual, which is great as well. And then Alan from the Hangover movies series thing has been confirmed as asexual as well. The issues with movies and series that portray asexual characters is that it shows a fixed plot line. So these people are seen as broken and can be fixed through a wonderful relationship with someone. There was a series called Sirens where someone called Voodoo, I didn't see Sirens, I was reading up on this, identified as asexual, and her sexuality again was seen as a joke or an obstacle for her partner to overcome to eventually get sex. The script showed the discussion about less about her life and her experience as an asexual, and more about how it offended the men around her, which is exactly my issue and why I am a feminist. The dangerous ideas that are associated with these fixed plot lines is that sexual orientation and consent can then be debated by people, and it shouldn't be. Consent is consent. You either say yes or you say no, and that's how it is. And convincing or shaming someone into having sex is corrective rape, actually. I'll talk about this in my video tomorrow. Sex is not an important part of, it's not a necessary part in a relationship. It really isn't. A relationship can be perfectly functional without having sex, but movies and music and series make us believe that every single relationship has to involve this, and I've seen a lot of relationships fall apart because partners have started to have sex. These plot lines also show kind of a weird side. It almost makes people feel like asexuals are doomed to a life of being alone. You have to compromise in a relationship, and you have to do what your partner wants. Next thing I want to talk about is representation in music. A lot of asexuals don't actually listen to pop music for this exact reason, that everything has some sort of mention of sex in it. Lists on Tumblr have been created for people who want to listen to pop music but that don't necessarily want to hear things about sex. And it's not so much the relationship in songs. I've heard really cute songs. Ed Sheeran does adorable songs about it, some adorable songs. There was one where I was like, It's not necessarily the relationship part of songs, but like certain songs that involve things like she didn't want to have sex but I convinced her and then we did it and I'm amazing. And that's what makes me mad. Songs like Blurred Lines. That shouldn't be legal to play on the radio. Why are they playing that on the radio with a whole bunch of kids? I've heard tiny 4-year-olds sing that song and it's disgusting. Sex in movies. Sometimes it's completely unnecessary. The point I'm trying to make is that sex in certain movies and series is not necessary to the overall ending of the movie and the plot. I'm talking about things like Game of Thrones, where there was a 20-minute lesbian sex scene. Happy for the lesbian representation, and it's amazing that we're getting some representation. Orange is the New Black would have been a perfectly good series without all the lesbian sex. Maybe not all of it, but some of it. I do like Orange is the New Black. I love the storyline. And it really is amazing. I love seeing Ruby Rose too, won't even lie, she's beautiful. Shameless involves a lot of unnecessary sex, and it obviously draws people in and gets people to watch it, but I don't think that it should. Next I want to talk about visibility. So obviously asexual visibility is not very big at the moment. It hopefully will be getting a little bit bigger. I have seen it grow quite a lot lately. There is a site called AVEN, A-V-E-N, which is Asexual Visibility and Education Network. I will link it in the description for anyone who wants to check that out. It's basically a site where people can go to ask questions on forums and find safe places to go. We do get an awareness week. This is Asexual Awareness Week, so I guess that's something. It is quite nice to use to educate people as well. People who are interested in being educated help a lot. And I will be talking a lot more in my 5th video about education and sex education in schools and how asexuals really aren't being catered to in schools. The effect of this lack of visibility and bad representation in the media on young children is a very big problem that we have to deal with. It makes them feel alone. Firstly, because often the asexual character, again, is something to be fixed, so they feel broken as well. A lot of asexuals feel like they're the only one who feels like that, because it's often so disproved. It's kind of annoying. A lot of people also say that it's a closeted gay. It's not. It really isn't. And that asexuals are often associated with being sociopaths. Onision spoke about this as well. Because you have no sexual feelings, you are apparently completely emotionless. I don't know. The effect on young kids is an issue that we have to deal with. I definitely felt very alienated when I started to question my sexuality. The initial thought was that I was gay. As I spoke about in my coming out video, it's it's a difficult thing to try and come to terms to because everyone's going to make you feel like you're broken and you need to be fixed. Ace phobia. Now we think that ace phobia isn't a thing. A lot of people say, oh no, you're just acting hard done by, no one says anything, it's not a big deal. It's a huge deal. In every beginning of my video I've included small parts of ace phobia that I have actually physically heard people say, either to me or to a friend, and it's not cool. The problem with asexuals is that we're excluded from the heterosexual community because we don't experience sexual attraction to straight people, I guess, to the opposite sex, but we're also excluded from the LGBT community because we don't experience sexual attraction. And some people say that the only reason that you should be part of the LGBTQ plus community is because you experience sexual attraction to something other than the opposite sex. I'll talk about this more in my last video, my final video, and how asexuals fit into the LGBTQ plus community, and I'll just speak more on that. There's a lot of misconceptions involving asexuality, and I will involve a lot more videos and stuff like that. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and leave comments of what you want to see on this channel and on my vlog channel. Go check that out as well.